This is a double feature video. Both products have been sent for review. All opinions are my own and there are no revisions prior to this content being released. Members of the jury are two controllers that stand trial today. On the left is the Nova Lite, a controller with a PC DNA. On the right, the Nova, just Nova, and this one has a Nintendo DNA. Despite sharing names, they're different in more ways than one, aside of appearance. Starting with the con, weird I know but it all makes sense, is the names. Don't get me wrong, I like the Nova and Nova Lite, but seeing as those two products are quite different, I fear that sharing Novas will confuse customers because in honesty, the Lite is not light in that sense, and the regular Nova is not an upgrade to the Lite. It's different. Both controllers have membrane for face buttons, D-pad, and shoulder. The only tactile you'll find are on the Nova with function buttons, whereas the Nova Lite has membrane all over. Both controllers have Hall effect sensor sticks, and if you've watched my previous GameSir product reviews, you'll know I praise them for always having excellent calibration from factory, and these newer models do too. Both have a USB-C connector on top, and amongst the 4 function buttons being select, start, capture, and home, they both also have an extra one called M that serves for extra functions, which we'll address shortly. And unique to the GameSir Nova, that one has 2 paddles in the back that can be remapped to your most used or preferred buttons. We mentioned a con earlier, so let's balance it out by addressing a pro, and one that might be quite shocking but also makes more and more sense as I review these. The price. The Nova Lite sells for $25 US. The regular Nova goes for $36 US. GameSir's goal with these products are to have cost-efficient champion controllers on the market. For regulars of this channel, you'll know I reserve that title for another brand. I have the utmost respect and appreciation for Easy SMX, but make no mistakes, GameSir have executed their vision, and as far as I'm concerned, their objective with laser focus. I have never seen such a great combo at such a ridiculously low price. Let's continue. Both controllers feel, for the most part, the same when in hand. Comfort-wise, it's almost hard nowadays to make controllers that are not comfortable because the science had so much time to evolve that no matter the price point, most controllers do well in that department. But with a dotted grip and a matte, slightly rugged shell on the front, they do more than just feel good enough. They feel entry-level premium, which is surprising considering how little they cost. Beyond how they play, which is responsive and with no perceptible latency, they both support Windows, SteamOS, Android, iOS, and macOS. They also both can connect wired through Bluetooth or using a 2.4 GHz dongle, which is included with the Nova Lite. And last, they both come with these plastic sleeves for storage, which is pretty neat to have even on a more expensive product. So let's address them independently for a while and highlight what makes them different, starting with the Nova Lite. It's kind of stupid how good this controller feels at the price that it is. The best controller for me to compare it to, which some of you may have reference for, is the Stadia controller, not in shape, but just in overall concept. And it is just convenient that the 2 color options are very much like Stadia ones, which I don't think is by fluke. Say what you will about Stadia, but the controller was of great quality, if just bare bones. And these ones feel just about on par, all the way down to even the rumble. I'm sure that you're at home looking at this review and you must be thinking, well, it's $25, just tell me what's wrong with it already. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The rumble is great, it is well tweaked, and I can't believe I'm about to say that, but to the lower degree, even to the lower degree of rumble, it is phenomenal, and the noise being pretty much non-existent. The Hall sensor sticks are asymmetrical, the D-pad is greatly executed, enough that it exceeds the one found on a $80 US controller I reviewed recently. So I'm here realizing that sometimes cutting costs and having a line drawn in the sand helps engineers dial it back, dial it in, and blow the roof off. And I'm making a point here. This shouldn't be $25 US in an inflated economy of all times. Now, I'm not saying this is the best controller in the world, but I can't fault it if it was 3 times the price. I certainly can't fault it now. I also can't fault you for wanting to change the colors of your YouTube algorithm a bit by clicking on the subscribe and bell icon. Can't fault you at all, in fact. Let me say how appreciative I am that you made it this far in the video. On screen, you should see the shortcuts because yes, this thing has extra on-the-fly features such as a dead zone calibration, interchangeable ABXY layout, interchangeable modes. Moving on to the Nova. Most of what I said thus far applies to it as well, but there are a few key differences, starting with the absolute crazy most feature, the HD rumble. Not Goalie KKK3 Max Maglev, let's call it something. It is not HD rumble. It feels, sounds, and behaves like the actual Switch Pro controller, that HD rumble. Say you told me that GameSir opened up a Switch Pro controller, took the aptic motors out and put it in theirs, I would believe you. Which means that this controller is a Switch Pro controller at half the price with Hall effect sticks with 2 added paddles in the back that also offers a full array of extra features and wider support. I can't say this enough. I love Rumble, but while this is not the first controller to claim HD Rumble from the testings I've made, it is the only one to actually deliver on that promise, and they call it wideband HD Rumble. For everything else, it also has nice RGB around the sticks that both serves aesthetics and purpose-driven effect. For example, when activating turbo on a button, the rings will flash red. When deactivating turbo, they'll flash green. Then you have the bars in the middle that will show you which mode you're on. Bars 3 and 4 for the Android HID mode, bars 2 and 4 for Xbox, 1 bar for Switch Pro controller, which its position will also determine which player you are. So what's the con? Hard to say that it actually is one, but it's definitely something to be addressed. This controller makes for an amazing PC gamepad as well, but shoulder triggers are not analog. They are digital, much like on the Switch Pro one. On screen are shortcuts for this controller, which do have a bit more considering you have back paddles. Both controllers have the ability to power up directly in a mode rather than cycling through them using select and start. For Switch mode, you'll do the upper button plus home. For Xbox mode, you'll do the leftmost button plus home. And for Android mode, you'll do the lower button plus home. And as we sum it up, a few other details to quickly brush over. There is no amiibo support for both. The Nova Lite has a 600 mAh battery, whereas the Nova Regular has a 1200 mAh battery. The Nova Lite does not have gyro, whereas the Nova Regular does, so I guess it is a bit less light in some regards, but yeah, both controllers are amazing, and as addressed from the beginning, they also serve different purposes, despite being able to do what the other does, just not as well. These are products to be viewed through the perspective of not trying to reinvent the wheel or jam-pack them with features, but rather to think of the economy that we are in, of what the landscape is becoming, and of just how packed and reliable and even surprising in some of the features that both these controllers are, especially the Nova. Let this be said, these two products might very well be the last of their kinds, in the sense that a controller this good for this low, I did not expect to see that by even a little. It's shocking how good, while remaining humble in price, these gamepads are. There are products that wish to be the complete opposite and go for excess and features of the wazoo at a different price, but hey, it all comes down to what you're looking for, and you can watch my review of such a product right there.